Boku Dakegai Naimachi, Erased, or The Town Where Only I Am Missing, is an anime riddled with all the potential in the world that unfortunately is squandered by what seems to be production time constraints. However, this drama/mystery anime still manages to provide a compelling story that is well worth watching and will no doubt be noted as one of the better animes of 2016. The show is pretty much totally void in terms of any type of style to the animations, but where the anime lacks in stylistic animations, it makes up for in a crisp and clean visual. The background textures are meticulously developed, from the detail of fading footprints in the snow to the wood grain of the walls. It creates a beautiful background scenery. As for character design, while still cleanly animated, the characters are utterly dull in any style, and in no way could you call them unique. However, this modest style actually serves to accent the personalities in the story surprisingly well. As it is that they are presented to be normal people stuck in abnormal circumstances, it would be almost inappropriate for them to have a blaringly unique character design. The music doesn't stick out in any way and only serves to be a modest background, subtly and appropriately accentuating the atmosphere. Overall, the presentation is clean and modest, having appropriate character design and vivid background textures, but lacking in any animation style. Erased is the story of Satoru Fujinuma, a man determined to prevent the abduction of 3 children from occurring, as well as prevent another tragic event that I won't spoil for you. He possesses an ability he dubs Revival that forces him backwards in time. An event triggers him being sent decades into the past, where he lives out his days as a child searching for a way to prevent the abductions of 3 girls from happening. The majority of the episodes involve him trying to save a girl called Hinazuki. This portion of the anime is executed very caringly, meticulously cultivating their relationship and his endeavors. Unfortunately, while the first 2/3 of the show are executed masterfully, the remaining episodes just feel rushed in comparison. They aren't nearly as developed nor nearly as carefully crafted. They feel haphazardly slapped together. It feels as though the producers had a 12-episode production maximum and decided that since they didn't have time to make a complete masterpiece, they would just make a portion of one, and then have the rest be mediocre. It's disappointing that so much potential had to be squandered for what seems to be the sake of time. The story also has a few holes in it that, while relatively small, can't help but to be noticed. But just to justify my accusation, I will at least give you hints as to where these holes in the story or scenes are. Here, and here. It almost doesn't feel right to judge the story as a whole, seeing as how there is such a clear difference in production between the first 2/3 of the story and the last 1/3. So, with that in mind, I will say this. Many parts of the story have a few very noticeable holes in them. The story as a whole fails to be much of a mystery, and succeeds much more as a drama, as it is blatantly obvious who the abductor is the entire time, and also has rather predictable moments throughout. Though, in terms of being a drama, the first 2/3 of the show succeed remarkably well, creating both a compelling relationship and a compelling story. Overall, the story is hit and miss, but has many very well executed elements. The characters are, unfortunately, hit and miss as well. Their rather indistinctive outward personalities are not made up for by any backstory. The only person with an almost complete backstory is Hinazuki. Our main character, Fujinuma, starts off the story as a struggling manga artist going through an introspective struggle, but this backdrop completely disappears as soon as the primary story begins. His relationship with who seems to be his closest friend, Kenya, is never well explained either. How they met or how their relationship developed seems to me like it would be an important aspect to explain, seeing as how they are in a constant partnership of trust throughout the whole story. The rest of his friends also seem to be nothing more than arbitrary additions to the story that serve no other purpose than to create a more full environment. Even our main antagonist seems to have nothing more than arbitrary reasons for his actions and is pretty much completely void in any backstory. But once again, I believe this is probably going to be the victim of production time constraints, simply due to how clearly the studio demonstrated their ability to create such a full-feeling relationship between Hinazuki and Fujinuma. Overall, the characters are shallow at best, and one relationship between two of the characters doesn't make up for all of the other poorly crafted ones. Erased is a hit-and-miss show with a ton of potential. Unfortunately, this potential is squandered by what seems to be constraints of time. This is not to say that the show is lacking in compelling elements though. For the most part, I found this anime story very engaging and compelling, and was easily able to disregard the shallow aspects and holes of the story. While it isn't anything I would put in my top 10 list, I will say that I think many people will find this to be worth watching. Erased will definitely be noted as one of the better animes of 2016, and I definitely recommend you go take the time to experience this anime.
If you liked this video, please subscribe. Thanks for watching.